Don't worry about me, just keep on doing what you're doing.
Practical magic, CGI magic, chaos magic, these series saw them all. We're taking an insider look at just how all the Marvel magic came to be. From the practical effects of WandaVision, to a modified Loki variant costume, to Yelena's bathroom blip, to Bucky's arm, we're covering it all.
My fake butt.
Fake butt.
Yeah, it makes me stand properly, and it makes me kind of want to do this too.
Number 1. Luckily, the production crew had his back. Right off the bat, the Loki series dropped quite the stunt. Literally. Dropping into the Time Variance Authority was courtesy of a real trapdoor and wires. While it was controlled, Hiddleston really did let the stunt team take the reins as they helped him fall onto his mark. That's one way to get around. Number 2. When a Loki has a baby, Marvel finds a solution. Sophia DiMartino was pregnant when she first auditioned for the series, and by the time she was filming, her little one was by her side and needed to nurse pretty frequently. Those Marvel superhero suits are notorious for being tricky to get in and out of, but not when there's a costume designer like Christine Wada around to add hidden zippers. This made slipping out of the suit enough to nurse a way easier process. The Marvel fam is as tight-knit as it gets. Number 3. Weapons at the ready. Loki is here and he ain't holding back. Tom Hiddleston himself was responsible for a ton of his own fights, keeping the speedy action like a pro on set. Not to mention the other Loki, who seems to be one of the best fighting partners a person could ask for. The training was long and intense, but so worth it. Hiddleston is extremely skilled with his hand-to-hand combat, not missing a beat in major sequences. Number 4. Are we seeing double the usual doubles? The Masters of Secret Keeping wanted to keep Sylvie's identity hidden, so they had male and female stunt doubles kicking it on set as one of the tactics to keep fans guessing at what Loki variant we'd be getting.
Such a gift of a character. I get to just be this absolute badass who's really angry.
The second episode sees variant Sylvie appearing in the shadows, and behind the scenes, both men and women made appearances to keep us on our toes. A tiny detail, but it's what makes us love this show even more. Number 5. Bust out those dancing shoes, Marvel's about to groove.
The first time I heard about the concept, I thought it was brilliant.
The vintage vibes were strong off the top of WandaVision, and while it started shooting in 2019, the set was brimming with technologies from the 50s and 60s. All the magic cooking was courtesy of old-fashioned filming techniques, including hooking all those kitchen supplies up to wires. The finishing touches took advantage of the CGI tech we have now to remove all those wires digitally. For the most part, what we see surrounding Wanda is the real deal, and the live studio audience can attest to that. Number 6. Let's take a trip to the town square. Westview has seen a whole lot of action, particularly in the town square. If you know, you know. Now, the gazebo was home to many an old-timey performance and afternoon hangout. No matter the decade, the structure was there. Except for the fact that it wasn't always real. Real as it looked and felt, masterful CGI brought it to life while the actors hung out with their old pal, the blue screen. Number 7. It was Agatha all along.
So hard. So worth it.
But not without some wires and heavy-duty fans. Catherine Hahn really reveled in the experience.
The first time I was lifted up on those wires, I really almost burst into tears.
The village it took to bring the show to life was necessary. Their fights aren't quite the same without all those effects. Number 8. If Wanda doesn't want you in the Hex, you don't stay in the Hex.
And I want you to leave.
Monica Rambeau soldiered through the series with her going in and out of the Hex, and on occasion, Geraldine had a one-way ticket for the Wanda Express heading straight out of Westview. Teyonah Parris fortunately didn't have to take the rough ride. A 3D model was designed based on the actress, and when the effects team went to work, they put all the layers together and those special blast effects that really make this sequence. Number 9. We love to see it. Paul Bettany had quite a lot of work to do for his human to android transitions.
You're the new clown? Yeah, at least you're already in makeup.
He had to film the exact same scene twice, in the most exact way possible, while wearing both different looks. Cue the special effects team to blend the shots so Vision could morph before our eyes while adding a dash of pizzazz. Whether it was the Bewitched-styled twinkles or the Tron vibe light ray, even when he was in bits, it was all a fabrication. With Bettany as a model, of course. While the actor did endure the hours-long process to prep, the final cuts are all CG and no Bettany. At least not visually. Number 10. Black and white on screen? Regular color on set? Not this time. Filming all of these episodes did happen in color, only rendering the footage to black and white in post. But not everything would translate so well with this.
So when we translated Red Vision into black and white, he didn't really look like Vision.
So he got suited up as a kind of periwinkle Vision. In the early episodes, even when he is an android, he looks a bit more human, so how does he suddenly look more robotic later on? The secret is in the eyelashes. The 4th episode onward sees a Vision with digitally removed eyelashes. And wow, is it ever effective? Number 11. Who needs a cape when you've got CGI? Okay, we're sure Paul Bettany would have dug actually wearing a cape on set, but the thing is, capes can have a knack for getting in the way. That cape is a full CGI creation and is masterfully edited to move in different ways. Chill vibes? Casual cape motion. A scene feeling tense? High stakes? That CG cape will take center stage, whipping about in the wind. Number 12. One blip bathroom coming right up. The room Yelena gets blipped in was literally built from the ground up by the team inside a mansion. They needed to build the set so it could work for them to get the whole sequence, and it got a full redecorating makeover. Instead of going with CGI, the team wanted to keep the show as grounded in reality as they could. Sometimes the human way is the best way. The transitions from moment to moment, well, in this case, the CGI was definitely the better way. Number 13. Clear your schedule, this blip is gonna take a few days. Yes, literally a few days, but all kind of the same? On the first day of work, the camera crew needed to pay extra special close attention to what they did and how they did it because they'd need to start over from the beginning all over again, capturing everything the exact same way for another take. On their first day, the final moment captured was planned to a T. Enter the bathroom, turn on the tap, tilt camera. This kind of precision was extremely tough to nail, but is it any surprise the Marvel team pulled it off? Number 14. The human actors were great, but we've gotta talk about the dog. Marvel fans everywhere got a treat when we saw Lucky's role join the Hawkeye series. Casting was open and they wound up going with the delightful lady dog, Jolt. CG is easier than actually working with animals on set in most cases, but not in this one. Jolt was a dream to work with for the cast and crew members and performed better than the team anticipated. The only bit of CG that was used was to hide one of Jolt's eyes. Oh, and for all those wondering, yes, Lucky the pizza dog does in fact like pizza.
Hey.
Number 15. The Falcon wasn't messing around. That big ol' montage? Yeah, it was chock full of intense rigs to capture all the action. When he was running, the film crew hopped on a cart racing through the woods. When the shield took center stage, the team realized just how brutal that could be on the trees. It didn't really feel right to harm Mother Nature, so out came the mats to keep those trees protected. They made the final cut instead of being CG'd out because, well, let's be real. It would be kind of weird to have Captain America destroying a bunch of harmless trees. Number 16. Squirrel suits? Say no more. Before they even started filming, a whole lot of people jumped out of a plane with cameras rigged up to their bodies so the Falcon and the Winter Soldier team could see just what it would look like to plummet and glide through the air.
What I really wanted to do for the big action sequences was, as much as possible, make things feel like they're grounded in reality.
This aerial battle was unlike any sequence Marvel had done before, and it's no surprise that it was super tricky to pull off. But after a lot of tests, planning, and squirrel suits, they managed to capture the action stunningly in this thrill-filled battle. Number 17. Is it a set? Is it a bouncy castle? Sometimes it could be hard to tell. Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan were doing their own stunts, but in this case, well, maybe it's not so much of a stunt as it is sort of falling onto a giant mat. With the risk level so low, the fun level was high. Number 18. Why duke it out on parked trucks when you can use moving trucks? Way to amp it up, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The truck tops the actors performed on were actually much smaller than the ones we see on screen. And, well, not so mobile. The stunt team shot their choreo at a higher level, with CG tying it all together so seamlessly that the actors actually had a hard time telling when it was them or their stunt doubles in the show. Number 19. So, anyone know where to get a vibranium arm? Nope, but the Marvel production team can do you one better: practical and digital effects. As soon as talk of the arm starts,
we start knowing that that's probably going to be a visual effects shot.
The whole arm falling off bit, yeah, you can bet CG was needed to hide Stan's actual arm.
And then Sebastian was a good sport about having his arm tucked behind his back.
When the arm was attached to his body, Stan was often sporting a special rubber arm sleeve to wear that looked so on point that the VFX team had a nearly perfect reference. About 30 to 40% of that arm actually makes the cut.
We try to do as much practically as possible.
Number 20. The Wakandans know how to protect themselves. The arm might be on Bucky Barnes, but it's still got a bit of Wakandan in it. There was a whole lot of discussion on how to make sure that the failsafe the Wakandan setup was represented somehow visually.
Should there be a little purple Wakandan energy signature or a little light to just help the audience figure out what's going on?
Slowing it down, we can see a tiny surge of light, and while it's easy to miss, we love to see this kind of tiny detail. From the almost missable details to the major builds and complex practical effects used, the Marvel team really knew how to take advantage of the best to bring these series to life. Making a show at the Marvel movie scale meant they pulled out all the stops, creating some of our favorite TV show magic.